can't go wrong with some Eagles on a Wednesday. Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the Pro Wrestling Experience here on ChicagoLandSportsRadio.com. Always love listening back to those good old 70s rock music. This is Get Over It from their Hell Freezes Over album. Rest in peace, by the way, Glenn Frey. Don't forget, everybody, Lucha Underground back for season 2. We had the season 2 premiere last week on the El Rey Network. You can always check it out 7 p.m. Central Time on the El Rey Network here in Chicago. And Lucha Underground is picked up for season 3, and a lot of tapings going on in Boyle Heights in the Temple. And glad to welcome back to the PW show Matt Striker. Follow him at Twitter at Matt_Striker_. Matthew, how's it going today?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now, I want you to know I was thinking of calling in sick, but I didn't want to get a suspension.
It's all good. I understand. You're a busy guy. I understand. I just want, before we get to Lucha Underground, I wanted to bring up WrestleKingdom 10 because I got to cover it for WrestleZone.com a few weeks ago, and amazing show. Now you got to do color commentary for 2 consecutive Wrestle Kingdoms. Just in your opinion, how's been your experience getting to cover these events, and do you have a preference from either any of the Tanahashi Okada matches from Wrestle Kingdom 9 with JR, or even a few weeks ago with Kevin Kelly?
Well, first and foremost, a big thanks goes to the Lions, to New Japan. I've always had a good relationship with the offices there, so when the opportunity presented itself, I, was fortunate enough that they were able to at least nod in my direction. As far as having a favorite match or anything like that, I have to go back and watch the matches outside of the element. I can't be sitting there calling them and commentating them to give you a correct answer as to which ones I like better. I have to go back and sit and watch them as 100% fan Matt, as opposed to half Matt Striker working in the sport versus half little Matthew is still a fan.
That's a good thing, because I had the opportunity to interview a lot of wrestlers, and it always seems a vibe I get from certain wrestlers. There's always a lot of jadedness, and I feel like a lot of people take wrestling for granted in certain cases. You're still a fan, even all the cool stuff that was going on with Lucha Underground last week. Are you still able to watch everything else and still be a fan of it, or is it just Lucha?
No, yeah, it's that little camera that sits on our desk. Sometimes it catches stuff that I wish it wouldn't catch, because you can see me come out of my seat or pump my fist or think the match is over and it's not. And I think that the beauty is that if I'm feeling that, chances are, the fans in the crowd and the fans at home are feeling that as well. So, I don't know. I don't ever want to. People say, well, you have to grow up sometime. Don't you think you should be an adult one day, Matthew? And I look them straight in the face. I go, no. It's all the problems in our lives come from when we become an adult. When we were kids, everything was great. So I like to stay as close to that as I can, and wrestling keeps me there.
Talk a little bit about the opening scene from last week's Lucha Underground, where you get to pick up Vampiro from the clinic. I thought that was really cool, something out of the box. Just tell us a little bit about doing the filming with the great production crew from Eric Van Wagen.
Eric Van Wagen is great. Skip's great. The entire crew is really great. And I think all the acclaim that Lucha Underground receives, the wrestling fan will always look at the in-ring product. But if you take a step back, you need to understand that the MVPs of Lucha Underground are the people behind those cameras, those people on the coloring boards and the sound boards and everything like that, because those are the people that are making these things where we all go, whoa. Don't get me wrong, Phoenix doing 8 backflips off of, the stairs, that makes us go, whoa.
Yeah.
But just that slow camera pull-in to Dario Cueto's tapping finger on the desk, for instance, those are the things that get us. As far as that scene goes, they called me the night before. They gave me an address, and it wasn't a physical address. Like, it wasn't 123 Main Street. It was like 6 Mountain Way, Colonial. Where the hell am I going? We went all the way up in the mountains.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Vampiro all day. All I saw was this car covered up and a camera. And the guys looked at me and they said, "Are you ready?" I said, "What do you want me to do?" They said, "Just do what you do." And honestly, with Vampiro, it takes 1 or 2 times, and we're done. The chemistry is just, it's God-given.
There's been a lot of tapings in the temple over the last couple weeks, even out of last week's show as well. But in your opinion, Matt, I'm curious from the end because I haven't had the opportunity to attend a Lucha Underground show yet. I haven't had the opportunity to go to the temple yet. With these tapings, is the vibe still the same, even with the bevy of tapings you guys are doing? I think it would be pretty hard, even though it is a close-in environment with the temple.
You know, I think throughout wrestling history, a lot of venues were directly responsible for the success of promotions, angles, or individual wrestlers. I point to places like the Dallas Sportatorium for world class or the Mid-South Coliseum. Without those iconic places, you almost lose a bit of the promotion and the identity itself. Same thing with the temple. It is a character. It is just as much a part of the program as are the believers, as are the fans. It's just as much a part of the program as the machine cage is. And without that environment, without that close-knit feeling of ownership that the fans have over the temple, I think an element would be missing. I often put it akin to the ECW arena and just that atmosphere of when, you know, that building would open up and the roof would blow off the place. The fans were just as important as Tommy Dreamer was. They just weren't collectively as heavy as he was.
We're talking to Matt Striker here on the Pro Wrestling Experience on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Matt will be alongside Johnny Mundo, also Evilise, and I think Prince Puma's coming down for C2E2 here in Chicago in the coming weeks. That's going to be a lot of fun. Matt, you're bringing up great arenas. I know it's bigger in scale, but the Rosemont Horizon could also be in that list too, right?
Sure, why not? Look at you, always steering it back to Chicago.
Hey, a lot of people always bring it back to Madison Square Garden. I don't take anything away from it. I just feel like the Rosemont Horizon gets underappreciated sometimes.
Oh, it definitely has its place in, I know, especially WWF, WWE history. It certainly has its place in wrestling. And I'll say this, not just because this is a Chicago-based station, whatever. One of my favorite cities to go is Chicago for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a huge sports fan, and two, I always seem to meet nice young ladies when I'm in Chicago. I have a consecutive hitting streak in Chicago, so that's why I like the Windy City. No pun intended.
Man, let me ask you this. Coming out of last week, now we have Katrina now running basically everything in the temple. It's her temple now. I think it's going to be an interesting element as the weeks go by. What's your expectations for this season? You don't have to give anything away, obviously, but I'm sure one way or another we'll see Dario Cueto back. But I really think this element of Katrina and Mil Muertes running the temple is a very interesting vibe. It seems a little bit darker than last year.
Well, I mean, yes, and then that is the play on the words of it will be a much darker place. But I think that, you mentioned Katrina and how she is so at the forefront of your mind, and not for the obvious reasons of you being a male and she being a female. I think a tip of the cap needs to go to Katrina, Sexy Star, Evilise, and some of the new females that will be debuting this season, because they've changed how not just the sports fan, but just the entertainment fan looks at women. It's not just, oh, look how hot. It goes right past that, and it goes to the emotional investment you make in the character. It goes to the depth and the level that you believe in or root for them. So I think that the three that I mentioned there, as well as a lot of female wrestlers today. There's a girl, Diana Purrazzo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. Just another one that's really just ushering in this. Yes, I get it. You're attractive, but that is fleeting, and it goes away, and we begin to judge, for lack of a better term, our females as peers now, not just as an accessory or an addendum or a supplement to the males. And I really am proud of Katrina and Sexy and Evilise for doing that. As far as what we expect, more of that, as well as you have to realize how high that bar was set last year.
True.
We had the intention, we had no idea if we were going to be allowed back into the party. So let's tear this house down now. Drink everything in sight and everything. So think of the things that are going to need to be done for season 2 to make you go, wow. That's all I can say with that. I know things that I can't say and so on and so forth, but just trust in what you fell in love with in the first place, and that's what Lucha Underground will continue to give.
You talk about still having that fandom in you coming out when you're doing the commentary. Is there any part of the wrestler that wants you to get inside the ring, though?
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, actually. I just put a tweet out yesterday that my first love shall forever be the feel of the canvas burning on my knee. I don't get to wrestle a lot anymore, but when I do, I love it. This Saturday, I'm up in Portland, Oregon for the West Coast Wrestling Connection. It's one of the few places I get to wrestle regularly. So that fire still burns, but when I see Mil Muertes put Phoenix through a wall or something like that, part of me goes, yeah, I'm probably better off just sitting here. But yeah, of course, the fire is always going to burn, in my belly. Anyone that is competitive, whether it be in, beer pong or semi-pro hockey, you're always going to have that fire. You're competitive with your radio show. You wake up, you go, man, I can't wait to get to work today, or at least I hope. So it's the same kind of passion.
I totally see where you're coming from, and I really get the opportunity with doing the play-by-play articles. And I know a lot of people have their stance on the dirt sheets. I'm not really high on this spewing stuff just for the hell of it. So when I'm doing the play-by-play articles, it's a great opportunity to study the business for what it is and play close attention to what's going on the screen instead of being distracted by social media or whatever somebody's saying somewhere else on a podcast. And I think with your experience, obviously being a wrestler, it's a good cheat code as well, because obviously you know the moves, and I get to learn something new about a person's style in the ring. So I think that's a great element, part of Lucha Underground, and I do it for Ring of Honor, I do it for New Japan. So getting to expand the horizons and study the product for what it is, I think it's a fun element, and Lucha Underground brings it every single week.
Cool. Thank you.
And we have PJ Black, a man you're familiar from his start with NXT in the WWE days, making his debut in Lucha Underground. Tell us, you've been around the guy. How excited is he to join the Lucha Underground crew?
I liken PJ to a muscle car that I have in my garage, but I'm missing one spark plug, or maybe it needs to have its oil changed. It's sitting in my car, in my garage. It's ready to go. I cannot wait to drive it around and let everyone look at it. That's what PJ has been to me, because he's been, since I've known him, he's just this hot rod charger sitting in the garage, and now finally the garage is slowly opening, the ignition is set, the dual exhaust hits, and you can just hear that engine rumbling. Imagine what this kid's going to do now. Just imagine. And it's not just flipping and flying. There's another side to PJ Black that a lot of people don't see. There is a very good wrestler underneath all that. I'm talking Dean Malenko-esque kind of good catch-can wrestling kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so you add his amazing athletic ability, add his kind of hidden wrestling talent, and then there's also, listen, that kid's a cocky guy. He really is a nice guy. He's my friend, but he's cocky too. When he walks in a room, he knows that he can pretty much beat up every guy in the room, and pretty much every girl in the room wants to hang out with him. That makes for a very cocky kind of guy. So all these elements, I think, will be able to flower and peacock for PJ as the season rolls on. At least I hope.
PJ Black is singing on the MAC tonight. Also, you can see Johnny Mundo returning to the Temple against Killshot. That's going to be another good match as well. Matt, a couple more things before we let you go. Any predictions for Sunday? I'm not sure if you're a big football fan or not, but who do you have on Sunday?
I heard JR on your show, and I heard his picks, and I always think about it. I'm always apprehensive to make picks on things, because then you go back and you listen afterwards, and sometimes you sound like you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But I think wrestling has jaded me so much that I think everything is a wrestling kind of angle. So the way I look at it is this: whomever is booking the NFL, and everyone says it, Peyton Manning is your big established hero, your good guy. Here comes your new next kind of guy. It's almost like Peyton Manning is a Rey Mysterio and Cam Newton is a Prince Puma. You know, it's kind of like that. So I think if you're doing it right, I think Peyton has to lose at WrestleMania. Cam has to stand tall, the new face of the NFL, hit all the confetti, hit the glitter, let him point to the sign, and we're out. And then the next night on Raw, someone can jump Cam Newton, maybe gets injured in week 1, and we're off to the races.
That's awesome. that's freaking awesome. We're talking to Matt Striker here for a couple more minutes here on the Pro Wrestling Experience. Matt, you brought up JR. You guys got to call AJ Styles match with Taito at WrestleKingdom 9. JR is now doing commentary for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Morrow's now on SmackDown. You on Lucha Underground. Kevin Kelly with Ring of Honor. I bet it's a fan's dream of wrestling commentary right now, right?
Oh, 100%. But the one or two names that I think are left out of these conversations because we're leaning on play-by-play guys is, let's not forget the importance of guys like Vampiro, guys like Steve Corino, guys like Jerry Lawler. Mm-hmm. You know, they bring a certain element to the commentary that no matter how hard someone tries, if they've never done it, they can't. And I notice in today's day and age, and listen, you know it too, man, everyone has a podcast. Everyone has a web show. Everyone has a blog review site.
Yeah.
So why should I listen to yours or read yours versus someone else's? And it comes from, well, who's holding the pen and from where are they writing and what is their experience and things like that. So I think that's why Vampiro and Steve Corino and Jerry Lawler are so powerful and important. As far as the flip side goes, guys like Morrow, JR, Kevin, and to a lesser extent myself, because I don't think I'm in their class, they have the ability to bridge. Because most times when you say pro wrestling to the non-pro wrestling fan, they go, come on, what is that, King Kong Bundy stomping his foot on the mat when he punches, Hercules Hernandez? Yeah. No, it's different now. Sit down and watch. Check this out. This is Lucha Underground. Check this out. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling, or this is Triple A, whatever it is, CMLF. So they're able to repackage something that most people already have a condition towards. And I think that's important because it allows pro wrestling, Puerto Wrestling, Lucha Libre to grow. And that's what we want. We want the products to grow.
That's a great point. And I feel like with the King and, of course, Steve Corino, there's a lot of little things that go over people's heads, especially from their experience in the ring. And also Vampiro as well. It's from his experience as well. I noticed that with a lot of Lucha Underground shows. It's just a lot of things you never thought would happen in wrestling. You find out from Vampiro, and obviously everybody knows he's out there, but he's a good broadcaster for not a lot of experience with it. He's really, really good. Matt,
and you said something about going over people's heads, and I just want to say that I am proud to be a person that has never said anything that has gone over anyone's head. I'm proud that I am someone that has never, ever said an inside reference that no one gets. These are things I'm proud of. And if you can't tell that I'm joking, then look at my videos.
Make sure to follow Matt at Twitter at Matt_Striker_. Check out Lucha Underground tonight on El Rey Network. I'll be covering the show for WrestleZone.com. Matt, it's always a good time talking with you, buddy. I know you've been busy and you said you were gonna call in, but I appreciate you taking some time and joining the show today.
All right, man. Maybe the Cubs will win 101 games this year. Let's see.
We'll see. All right, talk to you later.
All right, man. Bye.